I don't have another price action play except for that 89 area. So as it stands right now, we are just twiddling our thumbs. We're above our pivot. I mean, the levels are almost sitting on top of each other because yesterday our pivot was 81. Today it's 84. I started to use 83 yesterday, and I could probably use 83 again today. Sometimes it gets like that. The market just gets on top of each other, and it's not really going any place. It's going up, going down. It's just kind of trading sideways or in a range. But today should be some kind of breakout range, one way or the other, with the Fed announcement. I still have that 76 target low yesterday. I still have a 58 target from Monday. So if you're going to trade the Feds, just be careful. So only good advice I can give you. Just it'll be, it'll get fast and furious for the first 20, 30 minutes. Then it'll see, you can watch the size of the bars. They start getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And I think one of the classes I took, the guy called it the first trade was the Corvette trade. That was the quickest. Then it was the horse and buggy trade after that. It goes back to trading normal. We do have some news out at 9. Uh, it doesn't look like it's market moving news. It's just news. Uh, we got new home sales coming out at 9 and oil inventories, but the big now the times over here are Eastern times. I'm in Central, so I'm giving them to you in Central times when I say 9 o'clock. The Fed meeting, the statement comes out at 1 today, and they have a question and answering at 1:30. So just be aware of that because he could say something and somebody misconstrue it, and this thing can go wild one way or another. And they may not do anything. I don't have any idea. I haven't heard. I like Fed days, except for the morning part. They usually just get up here and just go thump, 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 just back and forth. It kind of makes me think we're on the right track far as the numbers and where we're at so far. Yeah. I'll be right back.
Hey, Mike Y, welcome back. Hey, Philip. Eric, how are you today? I think I reached everybody before. I mentioned today is sweep day, so let us know that you are signed up. If we don't hear from you, we think you don't care. If we think you don't care, we just exit you from our service. If you get exited, you got to figure out how to come back in. Those that are just coming in, this is E-mini Trade Along, service of the Trade Along Trading Academy. I just pasted the opportunity to earn a funded trading account through our affiliate. There's an affiliate link there. Click on it, read about it. Hey, Don, are you in the background?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, I just want to make
got
sure
back.
your mic wasn't off. No worries.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
No worries. I didn't hear you breathing, so I'm like, better check on.
Yeah, I'm going. What is this squirrel doing here? We only got up to 92. Our level was 95. And we come back down to this 88 spot. Well, this is, I guess, why they call it trading. We're looking for a spot, and it's not there yet. It's chewing around that intermediate 89 area. I kind of had a little reason to take the 91, 92 area, but I did not take it. I see all sorts of little intermediate spots in here. But a lot of times they work, but it, you're going to get run over every now and then too. So you just have to determine what kind of trader you're going to be. Are you going to take those spots and get run over and wait for the next opportunity? And or you're going to try and pick and choose to hopefully pick the best opportunities. And I find that doesn't work very well either. So you either have to make up your mind you're going to take them all or you're not going to take any of them. It probably has a better than 50-50 chance of of probabilities for you. What they are exactly, I have no idea. I don't ever go back but I was Mickey Mousing around and I wasn't paying attention. And I thought it'd go ahead and push on up into that 93, 94, 95 area. It didn't do it. I know that when our level is at 95. I like that 98 area. What was our low this morning? 45.83.75. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Oh, sure, Pat. Let me post them in the chat for you. If you'll look in the chat, you'll see the daily levels that we're trading off of. We're going to have news out here in another 10 minutes. Just be aware of that. There's 100 plus lots up and down the dome. So, well, if you look at them, they're about 10, 11 points apart. And this thing can move 10 points out of the gate real easy. So I decided to go ahead and give the levels far apart. And I've been doing this, I guess, for the last 2 weeks. Then you come back and telling you about the intermediate levels that are closer together, that they're in between the levels. And you can trade those. It's just a lot of times like what was it we traded earlier this week? What was it? The 77 on or was it the 87? One of the two, and we just blew right through it. So the intermediates, yes, they do work. They have a little bit less, I guess what you might say, power. Oh, you're more than welcome. It just I mean, I'll tell you what my intermediate levels are if y'all want to write them down. But uh, the first intermediate level I have is at 89. The next one up is 4,600 and 12. And the intermediate coming down on the below the 84 is going to be 78, 67, and 55. But most days when we're posting numbers, they're anywhere from 8 to 9 points. And the main reason is there's nothing for this market to open up and run 9 points. And but we're sitting right here at the 89. It's we've done this several times this week. We get those intermediate levels and we'll trade above them and come back down to them and sit there and just chew on them. As it stands right at this moment, I don't like that, but I was not quick enough to get it. I was saying, getting long down around this 88.50 wouldn't be a bad spot. We should be able to get 90.50 out of it, but didn't work. Didn't get it. If you were fortunate enough to be able to jump on it there and uh, and if you want to try and hold it for 2 points, just I wouldn't lose any money on the trade. It's either going to go up and do it, or it's going to cost me commissions, or I'll do it at break even plus a tick. But I was not able to get it. Uh, but these price action trades become something that you kind of see, and sometimes you jump on them and you just don't get filled, and that's just the way it is now. Okay, and if it was me and I was still in this trade, I'd be looking to say, okay, either this thing is fixing to go up or it's going to come down, stop me out, and I'm looking at, hey, I could get a point out of this thing right now, bam, and you would have gotten stopped out. But though that's what happens on short duration price action trades is so if I'd have taken a point, hey, I made a point. Work a little bit. You got your mic on, Brad?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I don't
Okay.
anymore.
Well, I heard some
I was
racket.
listening. Yeah, it was in the background.
Okay. All right. Where do we go from here? We got news out in a few more minutes. Another 4 minutes, I think. So I'm flat. Like I say, they're probably just going to Mickey Mouse around with this thing, and it's not going to be a whole lot to happen until 1 o'clock. Then it's going to get wild and woolly there for a few minutes. Then it'll calm down, and you can go to trading. But I would not. Nah, I take that back. I've done it. Unless you're really used to it and you can stand big drawdowns, and I would not mess with the Fed trade because I'll trade it, but I don't have a stop. I'm jumping in that thing. And most days I jump in it, I'm down a few $100. And next thing I know, I'm up a few $100 and I'm out. It doesn't always work that way. So you better have some idea on what this thing's going to do, and hope that you're on the right side of it when you jump in that pond. But smart money says, look, unless you really understand what it's doing and what it's going to do, uh, let's go. All right, the news is out. And to get back up in this range. Tell you what, the ladder ticket didn't thin down much. whatever it is, that 89 seems to be holding in there. We're back to our blue band. We're coming down to our pivot area. If you bought the pivot area, which was at 87, yeah, that's about right. I think they probably want to tank this market off, but I don't think they can until after the Fed news. They got to have something to blame it on. I don't think housing starts is going to be their sales is going to be the issue yet. You know, when I look down the week, there's a lot of red numbers that didn't make it, but the market goes up. So, well, if you bought the 87s, you're looking for 89. Uh, it's giving you a place to scratch it or hold it or make you a point out of it. Just, or, you know, movie stop to break even, see what happens. That's where I'm at. I just got stopped out. We run into a lot of clutter up here at that 8850 area. The first time to that blue band was a good trade. The second time was iffy. Doesn't mean that it still can't work. It just the probabilities come somewhat go down a little bit. Stupid me, I took it again. I still believe in it. I got stopped out on the first one. Still running into problems at that 8850 area. My stop is back at break even again.
Hey, Roop, welcome back. Hey, Pat.
Well, if you took the trade, you got close. Yeah, we're back to the blue band again. I can promise I'm not taking it this round. I don't care if it does go. Should have got at least a point and a half out of that thing. Yeah, I've got some corn, some of those predators too. It's probably coons. They've been they. I had a bunch of watermelons out there, and the coons they like them too. It amazes me they can go into a watermelon and dig a little hole in it. You look in that hole, and there's nothing left but white on the inside. I mean, they scrape it down to the rind. Do they just do they bend your corn over and just tear the corn up, or they actually climb it and tear it off? And both the thing about squirrels and coons is they only pick the best stuff. They don't get that secondhand fruit or they get the premium ripe stuff. It's kind of like, yeah. And so if you see it today and it's going to be ready tomorrow, pick it today because they'll have it gone by tomorrow. Well, this is just telling me that our little 089 is working pretty well. Well, we got up to 89 from that 87, but man, it took it a while. And we got to back to the 90 now. Now, if we do about 90.50, I'd feel a whole lot better. That means what I saw there was a good reasoning behind it. It wasn't time yet. I kicked myself for not taking a point on the first trade. Then the second trade, I did get a point and a half out of it. And I didn't even take the third one. So it looks like it did work. I mean, everything that I've seen come to fruition here just took a little while. And a lot of times I just get bored. I'm tired of it. I don't want to sit in it. So a point's better than nothing, and I don't have to sit in it. And I made money. Go to the next trade. I'm. It took me a while to realize this when I came over into the room. We are here to scalp the market. We're not here to, even though the levels seem to get pretty close to the very highs and the very lows and the turning points. We know that they do work somewhat. And so the only way to trade those turning points is and you're trying to get more out of them. It's in a good example is this 87 trading off that blue band. Well, the first time to it was a good trade. The second and third time to it, you could have made a little bit, but you still have to risk something to make something. I mean, you can't get into a trade unless as soon as you pull that trigger and you jump into a trade, you're at risk. You may not think of it that way, but you are. I mean, the market could go against you instantly. It could go with you instantly. But the only thing you can do after you jump in a trade is control how much money you will lose. I mean, that should be your first and foremost deal. Said, look, if I'm going to work on 2 points, if I'd have put this 87 at 2 points, I could have made several points out of it and never had a problem. Uh, but my problem is okay, I see where it should go back to. I'm looking at it and I have reasonings that we should go back to. So I'm looking for a place where, and I do not have an intermediate level down there. 84 is our pivot. 89 is the level that we're going to, that intermediate area up there. So, if you look at 89 right now, it's been above it and below it. So the next level up above this 89 is going to be that 95 area. But keep in mind that 95 and 98, 95, 98, and 99, they're all stuffed in there together. But today it says 95. So if we get enough momentum and it just shoots through that 95, I may sell the 95s and also sell the 98s as my backup. Uh, I mean, we've been down from 86 to 92, and that's it. It's just some days it just won't give you what, we can only make what the market gives us. We might have the best reasons in the world, but until it gives us our points. And the thing about a price action trade is you get in it and you got to work the trade. You've got to be paying attention. You've got to get out of it. Whereas a level trade, this is where we're going to get in. This is where we're wrong. And this is where we're going to take profits. I mean, as soon as you put it on there, those other two parameters should just go ahead and pop right on in. And you can automate all of that stuff so where it automatically does it. I manually do mine. Uh, but that's something that you as an individual trader has to come up with some rules for yourself. You got to have some rules that'll protect you from you doing things you shouldn't be doing. Rule says, don't stick my finger into a light socket. It's going to shock me. Well, the same way with trading is don't take these type of trades because they're going to cost me money. Then that's going to shock you right there. So, and what's really bad is you take those trades like that and they work out, and then you get all excited. And the next time you double up on them, and that's when they really bite you. Philip, what do you bait your live traps with? More corn? Huh. Marshmallows. Didn't know that. Well, maybe that's what I need to do is get a bag of marshmallows and sprinkle them around on there. Do you have to put a bunch of them in there, 4, 5, or 6, or 10, or just do you start at the front of the trap and kind of lead a trail into them, or you just put them in the back on the little tray? I had something put right in front of the tray. Okay. Oh, that's good. I guess from the way they like watermelons, I guess they like the sugar. Here in this area we have a lot of hogs that are wild. Uh, and the hog, I mean, they've just got the epidemic proportions, and they can't figure out how to control them. I mean, you can go out and hunt them anytime, and just but they're tearing up. I mean, you have a big garden patch, they can come through and they can tear up your whole garden patch in just in a few hours. They're gone. You come back and it looks like somebody took a rotor tiller through that thing. It's kind of like, man. A friend of mine had some traps. They called them pipe traps. They were about, I guess, inch and a half in diameter, and you kind of drove them in the ground anyway, and you put your sardine or whatever in the bottom of that pipe that's kind of laid on the ground, and they'd come down, they'd stick their hand in there, and they would grab the thing and they would trigger the trap, and it would grab their paw and wouldn't let them out. Paw traps. I know one thing: when you walk up to that coon, he is some kind of mad. He's ready to eat the pipe, you, and everything else. Well, we almost got back to our pivot. I don't have a trade in here. I wish I did. I mean, looking at it now, you can say, "Oh, we could have faded the pivot," but we didn't know that was going to happen. I had an 84.50 spot in there, but pivot was 84, so I'm going, hey, he's going to have to touch the pivot. Yeah, no, he had him around his pond there, and I think he ended up catching like 20 something coons in them traps. Every time I bait a live trap with tuna fish, I catch the neighbor's cats. I'm going, what, you back over here again? Well, I'll have to try the marshmallows. I used to have an old cur dog that would keep the coons out. I mean, that sucker would go head to head. He didn't care how big that coon was. He was after it. I've seen that he would reach up, he'd go after a coon, and I saw one day he was out there, and a coon had a paw around one ear and a paw around the other, and his feet kind of underneath his jaw, just a biting on his nose, man. And old dog, he never even yelped. He just went to spinning. And I'm going, what are you doing? The next thing I know, the coon's holding on by one hand, just onto an ear. I mean, he just a spinning. Finally, the coon come off, and shame on him when he did. That dog jumped him. But I was real surprised that dog would not. He hated coons and he hated snakes. I'd go out there sometimes, and he'd be sitting there looking at a bush, and he'd look at me, and he'd look at that bush. So I learned a long time ago, I'm going to take a stick and stir that bush. And well, I'm not talking about a big bush. I'm talking about just a clump of grass, a big, heavy clump of grass. I go over there and hit that thing, and the biggest old snake comes sliding out of that thing. Just about it. But that was a good old dog. I just hated to see him go. I could have parked him in the watermelon patch, and we'd have been coon free. He hated those things. In our part of the world over here, we had Justin Wilson and Jerry Clower. And guys, imagine this: we're back to that 89, man. It's really unique when we give a level out, and it just sits there and just chomps around that level. And it's kind of like, okay, well, we know the level's working. Well, I wonder how our fearless leader did in his tournaments. I don't know exactly where he was at over there, but I thought about him when I was watching the news the other day, and all the protesters, they just had the streets just filled with people. And I'm going, I hope he can make it to the airport. Guys, if anybody's got any questions, feel free. Yep. I've got relatives that live in Baton Rouge. We just came back from there about a week ago. See, and I live right on the Texas Louisiana line, and all of my folks come from South Louisiana. No, I haven't. Mercer. What's the name? Sounds familiar. I Yeah, my wife is from Shreveport. My her mother lives in Baton Rouge, and her aunt lives in Baton Rouge, and two of her brothers live in Baton Rouge. So yeah, we get to go to Baton Rouge quite frequently. Oh, okay. They There was a guy here. He was a radio host, and his name was Dewey Compton. He was a garden, I guess, an outdoor writer, garden writer, and he walked up to the podium. They introduced him. He walked up to the podium and he didn't say anything. He just reached into his pocket and he pulled out a silver dollar and he flipped it up in the air and he come back down and he grabbed it and he put it back in his pocket. And he says, I have just given y'all all a very important economic lesson. Everybody's looking at him like, okay, what was it? He said, just remember what goes up does come down, so you better save a little while you got it. It's going, it's a lot of truth in that. The I guess I'm old enough now to I look at the younger generation. I've got some grandkids down. They're staying with us a couple of days, and they come in and they'll sit down in the living room. Then they get on their little electronic devices, and it's kind of like, you just it's kind of like that. I don't know that they can carry on a conversation. That's nice. And we're going to have a deal. I mean, if you've got questions or something, just I'll answer what I can, and I'm trying not to give away secrets that the people that have come in and paid for this service, not the numbers, but the see, Saul used to have a mentoring program that you came in and it was over weeks in a month or so, and once a week, and you come in and you sit down and he would show you what we're doing, why we're doing this is something to watch for. And so those secrets I can't give away because there's folks out there that's paid a lot of money for it. And this I can tell you though, and uh, it amazes me that I was taking an options course, and I got a story to go with it. I was taking an options course, and the guy that was teaching it was a fellow by the name of Ryan Jones, and he wrote the Money Game about odds and percentages. It's a very good book. Highly recommend it. He's an excellent trader. Anyway, and I was talking with him, and he said, in this class, 90% of the people in this class will not use what we're teaching, or they won't go any further. So, and it dawned on me, I said, well, why would you want us to pay that kind of money and not use it? And, but he said, statistically, I'm watching as we get down here into this pivot range. Uh, but he said most people that take classes do not use the information they're given. So, and I'll be upfront with you that when I took Saul's course, and I'm like everybody else, I'm trying to write it all down. But the thing about it is, you've got to get to the point, and I don't, in my opinion, doesn't matter whose course you take, you've got to learn to be able to put that in your mind and see it and put action to it and reap benefits or losses. And basically it's I'd say it's the same with anybody's course or way of trading. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. I don't think that Saul says there's not a right way and a wrong way. It just I guess the wrong way is if you're losing all your money. And there was I got another story for you. There was a guy, he had a broker, and every year he played the futures market, and he'd lose about $50,000 a year. And after about 4 or 5 years, 6 years, something like that, his broker called him up on the phone and told him, he said, look, he says, you've been doing this for 4 or 5 years and you have constantly lost $50,000-$60,000 a year. He said, don't you think it's time to stop? He said, he says, at my age, the only joy I get is trading. I don't chase women. I don't do this. So it's okay. And the broker said, okay. So, I mean, if you got the money and you just like to do it and lose money and it doesn't bother you and it's not going to cripple you, then hey, go for it. I sure can. Philip, let me stick these in there. There's levels for today. If you look into the chat, we had an intermediate level up there at the 89, and we haven't gone below pivot. We hadn't really ever gotten back to pivot. So, and I see the number of folks in the room, and there's all levels of trading experience in this room. I would guess. Don't know that. I'm just guessing. And we all have our way of doing things. It's just we have to figure out how to take what we've learned from whomever and make it profitable for us, because that's the game. That's the name of the game, is to be able to make a profit to where we can sustain ourselves and do what we want to do. And it sounds really simple, and it is very hard, all in the same sentence. It's the hardest easy thing you'll ever do. But most things that make it hard are us, and we get our brains in the way. We start causing problems. We start looking for things that really aren't there, and instead of keeping it simple. And I mean, you can't ask for a much simpler system than what we're doing right here. We throw out some numbers and we trade around those numbers. And now with the price action, what's going on to see what's happening, you can call it pattern trading, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but it works. And if it doesn't work, you're wrong, you get out. That is about as simple as you can get. And it's, as you can see, there's not a whole lot of indicators on my, now on my 1 minute chart. That just confused people. I got everything shoved on there all together. But on a 5 minute chart, and or if you were to look at Saul's charts, I'll throw them up there again. For some reason we are not. But if just to look at the chart, there's nothing spectacular about these charts. There's just a Bollinger Band with a 200 period moving average on it. That's it. And you can actually make a living off of just trading this chart right here. You don't really need this. uh, it's handy. There's reasons to have it that are above that, but I could either take a ruler or just take this thing right, this line tool right here, and trade off line tools, off trend lines. It just, but it comes from, I understand it, and when it doesn't work, I know where I'm wrong. Get out and go to another one. I can trade the price action that's happening in and around these areas. Uh, we're coming down to pivot. I am going to have to wait. Let's see. If we blow through that 84, I would expect this around this 81 to kind of, we had an 80, we had an 83 for Monday. Now we're going to see how it's going to react around this, our pivot. I did take the pivot. I didn't get but 1 point out of it. Which was okay. Considering this is Fed day, this is kind of a sucky day so far. It's either that or I'm not really paying attention to missing items in there. You know what? I still believe there's another point in there. Tell me, you sucker. There we go. Well, I had to work that pivot twice, but I took a point each time, so I'm happy. Now, the odds of it working out the second time were probably a lot less than they were the first time. Uh, but that's okay. It worked. I got my point. Got back down there. Got another 84. Got out at 85. It's probably going to run up to 86, but I don't care. I got my 2 points. I'm out of the trade. This thing can go south right now if it wants to. So, man, we're first hour and a half here. Let's see, I've only captured 2, 3, 4, 5.5 points. That's it. I've scratched the trade. I think I've scratched 2 or 3 of them. Just broke even because I just didn't want to lose money and just had to pay costing commissions. But that's just the price of doing business. I would rather trade like this and have no losses than I would have the bigger pushes. And because tomorrow I'll come back if I can do it again. And that's the mentality that I have for me. And it works for me. And so my hopes would be that I'm telling you what I'm doing, and maybe you can figure out something that's going to work for you, not like me, but for you, the way that you want it to, and the way your personality and you want to trade does. And other than that, we've had a blue band trade. Uh, had to work that blue band twice. Let's see. Yeah. So it just today it's slow and it's Fed day. It just they had their little hoorah and they're just sitting there just you know if they keep it between 89 and 84, they can do this for hours. And just I don't know that they'll do that. That's just what I see. The guys were coming up on 10 o'clock. The news was out at 9. I still like that 76 area down there for a target area. But right now, it's just not giving me much to get excited to want to risk something to go down there. If I still had one, if I was holding one, then from the 89 area, somewhere in there, if I had a decent entry, and just I might consider holding it. But if you're at 89 and you got 5 points in the trade already, it's kind of like, that $250 looks pretty good in my pocket, better than it does on paper. And, that's something else that you need to decide for yourself. I can't tell you, Saul, or nobody else can, is what kind of profits are you really looking for in a trade? Are you wanting to be a swing trader? Are you just looking to scalp the market? And I haven't. Yesterday, the VIX was up close to 14, and we're at 1385 handle a day. We're back at our pivot. I still say that pivot should have gave us 2 points, but I like that 76 too, and you can see where we're at now. we're not at either one of them. But being patient is I guess, the hardest part, because we want to make money and we have to wait for the opportunities to present themselves. You know, you could have jumped on there at 83.75, 84. You could probably get another point out of it, but we're coming right back into that blue band at that 85. We should have got to 85.50. So I would most definitely, if I was long this thing, I'd be looking at getting out at 85. It should see 86, but I don't know how it's going to do that. And I don't want to be sitting in a trade like this. It's choppy right in here. Right now, this thing is saying down. So if we break these lows right here, those bottoms, uh, we could see this thing head south pretty quick. Let's see. 78 is the next intermediate level. Back to pivot. We are just twiddling our thumbs. We can't get down to the 78. Yesterday's pivot was 81. We had a level in there one day of 83. I like the 81. May not give us much. I bought the 81. I think we're able to get out of it so far as a point. Well, we're at 10 o'clock. I'm still holding my 81, my second one. I will not lose money now. I'm out. All right, guys. We had an intermediate level trade this morning. I called it a price action trade. We got 2 points. We did a blue band trade. We got a point and a half on that one. We did some more price action trades. One, two, we did four. And we got 5 points on those. So today's total so far be about 8.5 points. That's it. Let's see. Date is the 20. It's better than yesterday by a little bit. Yesterday kind of sucked. I'm probably not going to keep track of this stuff anymore. Uh, we were just doing it to kind of help folks see what we were kind of doing. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've had 16 trading days since Saul's left. And well, if it go down to something that I can see that I want to trade off of, I kind of like the 81. I took it. Uh, that was also our pivot yesterday that I was using. Gonna have to get it back above that 83 in order to see that 84, 85, 86 range, somewhere up in there. I can see us coming back to pivot. I can see us coming back to about 86. I can also see us coming back up to 89 area. Now, how it goes about getting there, are we going to go down and tag that 76 first, or is it going to shoot straight on up? I don't know. And now it looks like it wants to run at that 86 area. But if it was me, I would probably be taking profits at pivot. If I got in at 81 and we're at 84, I got 3 points out of the trade. I did get 2 out of the trade, but I'm not holding anything, so I'm flat. This is Thursday afternoon. It's Fed meeting. About another 2 hours, 50 minutes, we're going to have an announcement out. And I may come back in and sit down and watch it. And, every time I sit in front of a computer, I start watching, I get ready to trade. So I've got other stuff to do today, so I'm not really worried about what it does. So, guys, it's been a pleasure. I've enjoyed it. I hope that if you've got any questions, feel free to ask. And I think if you've got a mic, raise your hand and Brad will turn it on and you can just ask away. And I'd be glad to talk with anybody.
You also have the ability to turn it on and off, you know.
Oh, I do. Okay, we'll
You're
see that.
you're a co-host, baby.
Oh, okay. Oh, because I know sometimes sitting there typing this mess out and trying to watch what's going on is a real pain in the neck.
Well, I think we like the idea of at the end of the morning session to be able to open it up for questions when questions are, about what you did, how you did it, how
Yeah.
to do it like you. I did post the opportunity, the subscription access fee. This is sweep day. So if you want to come back, make sure you're signed up. If you have a reason why you can't sign up, post it so we know what's going on. Not saying anything is not an option. And Don, we're having some great times together. I appreciate it.
I've enjoyed it. I just, I don't guess there's a time that when you're forced to do the numbers, it forces you to pay attention to what's going on. And my goal is to hopefully have a number out there that we're not going to get run over by too far, and that you just don't put in a level and get run over. We try and get as close as we can, but we never know what this market or the amount of momentum it's going to have going into an area. But I hate for y'all to lose money. If I lose money, hey, it's on me. It's not, but I hate to put something out there and y'all trade it and you lose money on it. That's not my goal. My goal is for these levels to try and make money every day and have a reason to make money.
Yeah, well, so you're doing this for yourself. There's an opportunity for individuals out there to learn how to do this for themselves. So we're
Yes.
not putting out trades for people to do, right? We're
Yeah.
doing a live market coaching opportunity for traders. And the private coaching is where they have the opportunity to really delve in, learn how to set the levels themselves if they choose, or learn the entries, exits, and stops and the technique, based on price action trading. In other words, what to do at a level or not do. And that
Yes.
should be done in simulation only until they get good enough to do it on their own, and then let your trade along host know that's what you're doing. In other words, if we know somebody's trying to pass the combine to trade somebody else's money, that's great. That's great information for the trade along host and to be able to understand that based on the subscriber, that's part of our service. The other thing is that let's say you're trading your own account and you have your own money up. Well, you have the ability to simulate trade, and you should ask about trades. Like you're in there doing your own business for yourself, right?
Yes.
Saul would do the same.
Yep.
Individuals out there are doing the same. But what's unique about this service is that it's in a trade along environment where you get to witness, you get to ask as the market, it's doing his thing. And you can participate in that, preferably in simulation, until you're good enough to be able to do it in real time. And that's the purpose of this service is an educational service where you have somebody who is experienced and able to handle themselves like yourself, Don. You're laying out the levels for the day based on how you lay them out, right? You're
Right.
setting those levels, those become areas of interest, and it gives those that are in the service a defined, set of areas to start to look at. And then after the opening bell, it is a sort of a massage, right, of what's going on during the morning session, questions fielded and answered if appropriate. And the concept here is how do individuals learn how to trade price action trading on their own with our help. And from an educational point of view, have that set up as a guide, right? So the guide is, if you have somebody who's your wingman during the session, it can really help you spot areas or opportunities that you otherwise wouldn't have spotted. And I think that's key to this. I think that, you're not showing them trades to do. You're doing your trades and explaining what you're doing and fielding questions.
Yes.
And that's really all you can do. You can't be in a position where you feel uncomfortable on your end as a trade along host, thinking you're getting people into trades, based on the levels. What you're doing is you're laying out a roadmap for the day and you're going through the morning session based on your technique, which is learnable, teachable, if individuals choose to do that. And by witnessing what you're doing, they can get a sense of your professionalism, how you handle yourself, how the levels are working. And you're also adjusting and tweaking on the fly. So you're real. You're not a robot. You're an individual. You are working the market to your best advantage for yourself. And you're also sharing that experience with other people, which I think is something that is unique. It's something that other people may try to do. Unfortunately, they trip themselves up a little bit and get caught being, whatever. So, Saul has a great reputation. You're certainly have a great reputation. It's it's witnessable, if that's the term, and we do it every day.
Yep.
So I would not lose it, and this I'll tell this to everybody, is that you're not here to help people make their own money. They're here to make their own money. They're here to defend their capital. If they are working with somebody else's capital, they've got to prove themselves worthy based on consistency, profitability, and um, risk management to be able to trade somebody else's money, which they should do in most cases or in all cases with their own money. Like if if you're not trying to impress somebody else to give you money, you should certainly think of your money as somebody else's money, maybe, and don't lose it in a willy-nilly, crazy fashion. So we're here every day, slugging it out. We're thankful for Don to be here. I just didn't want Don to think that he is put in a position, and you should understand that too, to help you do a trade today or make money today. That is really up to you and being reinforced based on being able to ask a trade along partner specifics about areas and entries, exits, and stops that are teaching tools, for these individuals. So this concept of a live market environment, trade along type approach to trading education is supplemented by either you know what you're doing and these levels are helping you and the trade along action is helping you, or you may want to step into a coaching session that is tailored to the individual trader out there, those that are part of the service, and then come back, go to the session, learn the entries, exits, and stops, ask your questions, interact, and then bring yourself back in here as an opportunity to practice what you just learned and be critiqued based on your newfound trading skill. And that's what happens here all the time. That's why I always mention to individuals here, if you like this, refer people to it, because it's a unique opportunity for traders to really focus, bang out a few $100 a day and raise their contract size and bang out some more when they are skilled and good enough to do this for yourselves. So I hope that, I don't want Don or any trade along host to be worried about what you're doing out there. You have to be in charge of yourself. You have to develop a skill set based on what you bring to the table. We can help focus you. We can help you with your order entry. We can help you get set up for the morning session. We can help you lay out the levels in your trading platform, your order entry. You can listen. It's called watch, listen, learn, ask, so that you are in with the market, able to interact with the market. The defined levels are there. They're adjusted and tweaked on the fly. Your trade along partners here, and it's all education first and education last. So I hope that clears some things up. We are in this with you when it comes to being on the spot. We are here adjusting and tweaking ourselves for the best opportunity for individuals out there. But it's really up to you to be able to manage your own business. And we're here to support you from an educational point of view only. So we don't call trades here. Calling trades is a false friend, in my opinion, because it doesn't help you, A, learn, and B, it's very hard to have somebody call trades and have why they got into a trade, why they changed their mind based on the action of price, why they got out, whether it was for the loss or a gain. And it's very hard to keep up with because you have to learn how to do it. You have to develop the innate sense. Trading is a discipline and it's an art form, and we can help you do it. It takes time and effort. It takes focus on both parties' part. It takes private time based on a private coaching session. And then the supplement of that coaching session happens in this trade along service that you're subscribed to. Right now, we have a nominal rate of usually it's $400. We're going to go back to the $400. Don't know when, but it's on the back burner. And if you can pick up the 150, great, good for you. If you get the 150, it's all done through PayPal and you can keep it. It rolls over at the 150. You can cancel it. You can keep it. It's completely up to you. One of the nice things about this service is that individuals like Don are trading. That's their main focus based on their own trading days and trading opportunity. Saul's the same way. He's here. He's trading. He's interacting. That's his main focus, is the trading part. And if you want to be part of it, join. If you don't want to be part of it, that's great. You just don't have to stay here. And that's, I think, one of the nice things is that everybody has the freedom to make a choice. And we'd like you to make a choice for yourself. And that's your decision. Well, Don, that was a mouthful.
Hey, buddy, I come in just for the noise. It just gives me something else to think about. If I get to thinking, if I get here by myself with no noise, man, I trade up a storm. And it's usually not for the good.
Yeah, listen, I understand. I mean, everybody comes to the party with their own set of talents. I think, all in all, I think that people want to have a discipline that they can exercise, particularly in the morning session, so they have freedom for the rest of the day. Pick up some money based on an orderly, learned trading technique. Apply that technique in simulation until they get good enough, and then apply it in real time. And let us know when you're going real time. That's important. I think it's important for you. You may want to make sure that you're tuned up and ready to go. And if you go into real time trading for whatever reason it's not working out for you, ask. Tell the story. You can do it to everybody, or you can just send it to hosts and panelists. I would set your setting when you're sending in your questions to everyone so that they can know what the question is, based on the answer from the trade along host. So this is a living, breathing opportunity to really focus in and develop a trading skill. You can call your own and have that reinforced by this service. But anyway, we're coming up onto the 11:30 zone. Don is done for the day. We're done for the day. We're going to come back and do this again tomorrow. Make sure you're signed up to come back. We'll ask every day who's signed up and who's not signed up. We do have discussions with people on a public and private level, and we understand, and we're here to support you. As if I'm pronouncing that correctly, in what regard? I mean, you're a subscriber. If you're interested in a coaching situation, I can post the coaching part. What I'll do is I'm going to send you privately a telephone number. Are you in the States? Oh, good. Okay, so I'm going to send out to you a telephone number for you to call, which is a cell phone, so it's easy. I guess, depending on your system. Yep, that's up there. You might have to put a 1 in front of it. And I'll also send out to you the special deal we have on coaching sessions. I'll send it out to everybody, but you'll see it in the everything. It's very generous based on the coaching session. So the 2-session minimum, and as you come in here as a proving ground and an access point, there's a lot of personalized opportunity that comes along with it. And actually, I'll turn on my ringer. How do you like that, huh? Sometimes I have my ringer off. I don't even know if people are calling me. I get a bazillion emails a day.
Maybe our fearless leader will be in. He'll stick his head in the barn and give us an update.
Yeah, did you have him flying back tomorrow?
He said he'd be back around the 26th. I'm assuming that he was flying back today.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I flew from Mexico. I don't think I'm back yet.
I have no idea how long that type flight from. That's if he made it to the airport.
Well, safety first in all those situations, right?
Yeah. No, and like I said, I don't know what city they were in. I hope it wasn't the one with all the crowds and the protests going on, because they had the streets blocked.
It's interesting. There's been a lot of turmoil around the world, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I find that that's interesting too. I think that there's been a lot of turmoil. Like we'd like to go over to France,
Yeah.
and that was having some problems, or Paris was having some problems.
Well, guys,
from a
go ahead. I'm
medical
sorry.
point. No, I was just saying from a medical point of view, sometimes traveling is tough too.
Yeah.
Based on various health hazards out there, if you will.
I had a friend of mine that was, and I forgot where she went to, but she fell and broke her leg, and she was in the hospital, and nobody spoke English, and the doctors couldn't speak English, and she had to stay in there for like 30 days. It was just, she said it was terrible. She said
I'm sorry, go ahead.
she said the people were really nice, but she said you just couldn't understand each other.
Well, it's interesting because so when we went to Mexico, I looked at travel insurance,
Yeah.
and then the evacuation type stuff. And I think some cases that's worth it. It's
Yeah.
really expensive to be evacuated.
Oh
Like
yeah.
medical evac.
Oh yeah.
Um, a friend of mine was out in Long Island in New York, and he had a scooter accident, and he was bad shape, and they flew him out by helicopter.
Yeah. That
But
helicopter ride around here is about 30 grand.
I'm sure it was then too. But his I don't know who covered it, but he was lucky he got to where he got because he would have been paralyzed.
Yeah.
So there are ways to do that. I ended up not doing it when I went to Mexico, but I did look into it. Sometimes if you do stuff with American Express or, they have the kind of evacuation service, and, that's like an extra item. But I think because of COVID, there's probably a lot of those companies suffered, because they had a lot of, it's like a risk reward thing. Like how many people can you take based on the amount of money that you collect,
Yeah.
you know? Hey, Les, that's great to know. My wife will be happy to know. I never wanted to go to France in my whole life. And then when I went there, I was like, what an idiot. This place is just absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's just magnificent.
I mean, France, Spain, they're all
Oh,
gorgeous countries.
oh, it's amazing, right? It's
I'd like
funny
to go
because you don't
to
see
France,
enough
and
of it.
I'd like to go to France, Spain, Greece.
Well, you better get packing, man. There's a lot of airfare sales right now, even though they may not
Nah.
take off or they may not let you back. They're letting you fly.
Nah. They there's a place down in South Louisiana. It's called Holly Beach. It's just a little few beach houses and stuff like that. It's nothing. Anyway, we went down there, rode down there one day, and we come back, and this guy's got he's got a camper that you pull behind your truck, and he's got a little awning out to the side of it, made out of metal, and he's got it looks like a tarp that's rolled up, but it was white. Anyway, he had it rolled down in big black letters across there. He had Cajun Riviera. I'm going, yep, only Louisiana could they do that.
I say this, I'd love to take, well, I have to fly out there, but go see the Grand Canyon and be in like an RV. I think it'd be great. Only problem is I'm not good driving big vehicles. I'm not the worst at driving a big vehicle. I drove a moving truck once and I actually hit somebody. They went
Oh,
under the moving truck. I turned in and then I actually brought them under the actual truck.
oh,
They went in between the wheels,
oh
like they
man.
were under the
Yeah,
middle
in
of
the
the truck.
center, yeah.
Oh my God. I was
I
so
tell you,
bad.
I tell you what amazes me. You get on those buses in downtown New York, and you look out the window. There's about 2 inches between you and the cars going. And you think, man, I asked that driver. I says, "This don't make you nervous?" Oh no, it's just, I'm going. Oh man, they'll be pulling two buses at a time. They're zooming through traffic.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, right? I listen, I don't know how they do it. I do not know how they do it.
I don't either. Good
I
drivers
drive
don't
in,
think I take.
listen, I drive sometimes in Manhattan, not as often as I used to, but it is a mess. I was talking to an Uber driver, dropped off a car for service this morning early, and the service place actually gave us an Uber or gave me an Uber to come home. And when I was on the hook, now they arranged it, I didn't arrange it, but the
Yeah.
guy asked me where I was going. And then I get in the car with him and he says, well, if you were going to Manhattan, I would have denied the call, denied the Uber. I would have canceled it because it would take him 2.5 hours to
Yeah, they
get in
get
and
through.
get out for like nothing.
Yeah.
So I felt for the guy. I mean, I wasn't going to Manhattan, but I realize that they've got to figure out how to save themselves. And they don't make a lot of money. He said it was 70-30, 70 to Uber and 30 to him.
Man,
And I don't think that makes much sense, right?
and especially using your own vehicle.
Right. Right. You bring everything, which I thought was interesting. You bring it
Well,
all.
I see we got up to our 86 finally. Guys, I'm going to shut it down. Do you need me to leave my charts up, Brad?
No,
Okay.
no, I think we're good. I
Okay.
appreciate it. And, thanks for being a sport.
And tomorrow we'll play it by ear. If Saul shows up, great. If he doesn't, great too. We'll do it again. So
Keep going. I think we're going to end up going through Monday. So,
okay, that's no problem.
and then we'll do the
See.
transition.
Yep. We'll see everybody tomorrow. Y'all have a good
All right.
one.
You too. Thanks, pal. Big shout out to Don for being our trade along partner today. It's not easy to do what he does. It really isn't. That's why I was trying to dissuade him for any issues. I don't want him to take the pain.
Nah, I've always had those issues. They're not going to go away.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but the thing about it is those are the same numbers I'm trading. If I give them better numbers, that means I get better numbers too. So
No, yeah, you know what I'm saying.
yeah,
I don't want anybody to ever feel responsible because the responsible individual learns how to do this for themselves.
yep.
And I think that's the way it's got to be. And we're here to help you do that. I mean, new traders, experienced traders, traders that are pretty close to becoming profitable. I believe we can help. And I think by sticking around here and understanding that, like we just had an inquiry about a coaching session. I think that's great. See that, Don? You're off the hook.
That's good.
Les is a good friend. And Les, switch your thing to send it to everyone so they can see that type of thing. You know what I mean? It's when you chat. So right now you're going to hosts and panelists, just switch it to everyone. When you got something to say like that, there you go. That's for everybody out there. It's always good, even though you're communicating directly with, there's no, and this is interesting too, is that, I mean, I would say most people have no idea what they're talking about, but they have great platitudes and they have great comments on trading. Like buy high, sell low, or sell low, buy high. But that stuff's not helping anybody. That's stuff for the afternoon. Morning session, make money. Afternoon, jawbone all you want. Do anything. Leave your computer, close it down, go outside. Whatever your hobby is, do it. But trading is trading. Conversation is conversation. This room has some great people in it, so we appreciate it. But just be careful that you don't waste your time jawboning and not actually doing anything for yourself when it comes to your trading, serious hobby or trading business. But anyway, so thank you, Don.
I was going to say there was a guy in here yesterday that I think it was yesterday. This is why don't we do it all day long? Well, mostly after about 10:30, 11 o'clock, at 11 o'clock, New York's going to lunch. So their trailers are pulled out. And at 12 o'clock Central Time, Chicago's going to lunch. So nothing's going to happen till usually 1 o'clock. And that's, you notice the Fed announcement. So those guys have come back from lunch before they even make an announcement. So that tends to slow things down. And that's another reason we don't want to be sitting here in front of a computer that's not making us any money. We're at work. We want to be paid. So,
yeah, no. Yeah, listen, I 100% agree with that. I think that, the concept of being good enough to sit down when the market's ripe, and it's not ripe every day, but ready to go for the morning session for 2 hours, if you can't make your money there, then how are you going to make it in the afternoon?
Yeah, the
Now there may
afternoon
be an
gets brutal.
opportunity in the afternoon that you didn't see in the morning. In other words, if the morning was a train wreck and you wanted to stick around, well, you have the skill sets to do that. But from a concept of I just want to sit down and execute my craft, bank my money, and come back and do it again tomorrow is a real freeing experience for people.
Yeah,
Do whatever you want after you're free, but concentrate at the time you can make money,
that's it.
percentage wise. And that
That's
could
it.
but there's no guarantee the morning session is going to be any good. You have to witness that after the opening bell
Yeah.
because you're not going to know. And then you see how a future levels work, you know, and it's interesting because I hear from you and I hear from Saul is that you're adjusting and tweaking yourself based on what's actually transpiring based on price action and price movement.
Yeah.
So you're doing the think on the fly based on the reality of what the market is doing. And you're really just sort of reacting to what it's telling you to be able to drive money out of it.
Yep.
But there is a floating game in the morning that there may be a day where you have to sit on your hands. It's the old adage,
Yeah.
sit on your hands so you don't do anything stupid.
Yep.
If it's not working for you.
And the day was a good example of that because it's a slow market. It's you could get in, take a little bit, get out, break even. It wasn't zooming. And we knew that going into it since this was Fed day and this is about a normal Fed day. It's just going to go up and probably trade right around this area for a while. At 89, it may go up a little higher. I don't know. But I don't look for it to run away one way direction or another. Uh,
Right.
until after
Yeah.
1 o'clock, then look out. No telling where it's going to go then.
Well, today, right? So
Yeah.
everybody's waiting on whether they pump the market up, in anticipation of good news
Well,
or
they
this is figured into it.
well they say it's figured into it, and they say there's going to be a 0.25% increase, but until the Fed spits it out of their mouth, nobody knows. And also remember that after 1 o'clock or 1:15, when they spit this out at 1:30, he's going to be speaking. So this market's still going to stay volatile for a little while. So be aware of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it's interesting too, is because let's say between now and tomorrow, the market does its thing and then it comes back into some orderly fashion
Oh yeah.
where you can start to make sense of, what the market's doing and then take your, what do they call it? Your ability based on able to trade, discipline, and approach, gives you what you're looking for, and then you can put a trade on.
I was going to look real quick to see if we had any news out tomorrow that's going to be earth shattering. Let's see, tomorrow's the 27th. Yeah. At 7:30 in the morning, we got unemployment. We got advanced GDP. No, I don't have any idea what that is. And that's Euro. Other than that, Friday at 7:30, we got CPE and unemployment cost index and revised consumer sentiment. I don't know. But what gets me is you look down here and do the actuals, and there's a bunch of reds in there, and yet the market's going up. I'm no economist, but it kind of seems kind of strange to me. But hey, whatever.
Yeah, and that's why you got to play it. But it's, you're mentioning that things can catch people by surprise if they're not
Yeah,
paying attention to what you're talking about, which is, are there any scheduled economic releases, and are there ones that are particularly important, and how do you avoid getting, washed down the river because you're not paying attention.
Yeah. This, when the news comes out, just don't be there. Sit on the sidelines, let them do their thing, then wait till it calms down, then jump back in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And if you're good enough, you can actually ride something, but that can get a little crazy.
It does. Well, guys, I'm out of here. I will see y'all tomorrow. Enjoyed it.
Thank you,
Mr.
Don.
Brad. Mr. Brad, thank you. And I will talk to you tomorrow.
You got it, buddy. So tradealonglive.com, tradealonglive.com. Join us in our home base, which is Zoom. We start here at 9 a.m. We go to 11:30, educational only. If you're a new trader, great. If you're an experienced trader that wants to start looking at helping their profitability, this is an opportunity to trade and trade better based on price action and the opportunity to receive key levels right around the cash open, and then have a trade along host that is here to answer questions, interact from an educational point of view only, and try to help you bridge the gap from where you are to where you'd like to be based on your trading. If you like what we're doing here, tell your friends. tradealonglive.com, tradealonglive.com. Thank you.